Now let's have a look at that amazing little poem which Alexander suggested, and I'm very happy she did. I'm very happy he did. So I like LORCA. He's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi again.
Yeah, I see you're back. So
Okay.
So basically we have a few famous Spaniards in literature, not as many as maybe European, but that's mainly because when we study literature we mainly pay attention to like Britain, France, Germany maybe, Italy, depending on the period. And but we do have a really good poetry and prose in Spain as well, and it's queer. It's really strange, all of it. So today we're going to look mainly at the original because it's really, really simple, and you have a word-to-word translation. And well, basically you can recognize most of words, I guess, even if you don't know Spanish. So Dancing with the Branches, LORCA. Let's read it. Maybe it's not a good idea to read it all together because of the delay.
Yeah.
Just one remark. Creepy.
It's not just dancing, it's specifically waltz, because if you read it,
waltzing.
It's, on three, so it's like uno, dos, tres, and the whole poem is built for these three syllables.
Yes, that's correct. So let's have a look at it. Cayó una hoja, y dos, y tres. Por la luna nadaba un pez. El agua duerme una hora, y el mar blanco duerme 100. La dama estaba muerta en la rama. La monja cantaba dentro de la toronja. La niña iba por el pino a la piña, y el pino buscaba la plumilla del trino. Pero el ruiseñor lloraba sus heridas alrededor. Y yo también, porque cayó una hoja, y dos, y tres, y una cabeza de cristal, y un violín de papel. Y la nieve podría con el mundo si la nieve durmiera un mes. Y las ramas luchaban con el mundo, una a una, dos a dos, y tres a tres. Oh, duro marvel de carnes invisibles. Oh, golfos sin hormigas del amanecer. Con el mu de las ramas, con el ay de las damas, con el cru de las ranas y el glú amarillo de la mil. Llegará un torso de sombra, coronado de laurel. Será el cielo para el viento duro como una pared, y las ramas desgajadas se irán bailando con él, una a una, alrededor de la luna, dos a dos, alrededor del sol, y tres a tres, para que los marfiles se duerman bien. So I don't think they could really translate it, although they did their best, whoever did it, but you can hear how it's basically a very short line, very few words, rhyming very precisely. You can't really do it in the translation, but let's read it.
And I just wanted to say that there is also a Russian version, and Russian version sounds better, but it's not that precise.
Well, it doesn't have to be precise, because when you translate a poem like that, maybe it's more important to capture the essence, the spirit, than do a word-to-word translation. So basically the translation is: one leaf fell, a second, and two, and three. a fish swam on the moon. The water sleeps for an hour, and the White Sea sleeps for 100. The lady was dead in the branches. The nun was singing inside the grapefruit. The girl got the pine cone from the pine, and the pine was looking for, okay, I'm not sure how to translate it, because plumilla could be a little feather, or it could be the pen or the tip of the pen, what you use for writing. So it's something like the warble of the pen, the song of the pen, the shiver of the pen, or the pen's shiver, the feathers, shiver the feathers song.
Wait, which word? Could you please repeat which one?
So, plumilla could be little plume,
yeah.
Little feather, or it could be feather as in what you write with, so pen, or the tip of the pen. And trino, that's like warble, song, tremble, shiver. So there are lots of many possible translations, but you get the idea. Pero el ruiseñor, but the nightingale was crying his wounds around, or as they translate it, was crying of his wounds throughout the countryside. It doesn't have the word countryside, just around. Y yo también, and so did I, because the first leaf fell, or one leaf fell, and two, and three, and a head of crystal, and a paper fiddle, and the snow could make its way in the world if the snow slept for a month, and the branches were fighting with the world, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3. All the hard ivory of invisible flesh, all the antlers abyss of the dawn, with the woo of the branches, and of the ladies, and of the frogs, and the yellow of the honey. A shadow's torso will arrive, or torso of a shadow will arrive, crowned with laurel. The sky will, for the wind, be as hard as a wall, and the broken, separated branches will leave, go away, dancing with it. 1 by 1 around the moon, 2 by 2 around the sun, 3 by 3, so the ivories can sleep. So it's a bit weird. But, somehow, as you listen to the original version, it doesn't look so weird because of the sounds. So what can you tell me? Because I'm speaking and speaking, so I guess you should be saying something too.
I just wanted to mention that if we will read both versions, the Spanish and the English one, he says that, what does he say? He says that La Dama estaba muerta en la rama. But La Dama in Spanish and lady in English, it means the woman who comes from aristocracy, so it's a noble woman. And I think it's important because the poem is called Waltz. And Waltz was considered to be the dance, of people from the high class. So I think it's something quite interesting that we might remember.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but the other, you read this poem and you start to think, okay, it's something about this high-class lady who dance all these posh dances, but it all happens in the forest, in the nature, with wild animals, with pines, and these ladies, they do not go to the forest unless they go for hunting, because hunting was also, kind of entertaining.
Okay, now I'll stop you for a second.
Okay.
Because when we think about waltzing historically, then yes, obviously it's a dance which is connected with aristocracy, but do we have it in the poem? Do we think about ladies going for a hunt in the forest just because we have one lady mentioned and she's dead?
Well,
Maybe.
I think it's just...
Maybe it's more
I
about
don't
the
think
rhythm.
about it. I think he's...
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I'm reading about this beautiful lady who's dying in the forest on branches. And for me, it's a little bit controversial because ladies, they do not go to forest to die. It's very beautiful, and I think it's quite an important line in this poem, at least for me. It was one of the most bright lines. And I know that I went a little bit too far, but I just think that it's a nice contrast between something high class, something very aristocratic, and something very alive, such as forest.
Yes, good point. Then again, you can say that nuns don't sing inside grapefruits. So it's all dreamy, dreamlike, and it's poetic because maybe he looks at ordinary things, what we think is ordinary, but what he can see is completely different. So who is looking at it? We have an I in the poem. It just mentioned once, and so did I. Yeah, and yo también. And we don't have this I anymore, but we have the character. We have the person who is looking and telling the story. What can you tell me about this person?
He's very, he watches a lot. And he's like, he's not a man of action, at least right here, because he's just looking, he's just observing. And, I got a feeling that in this exact point, he's kind of, doing this VALS dance. Because he's repeating one, uno, dos, tres, and quite often when you dance, you do this counting. So I just got this feeling that he's dancing, but not, I didn't mean like he was physically dancing, but in psychological way, he was dancing around this situation.
Yes, good.
Well, for my part, I can say that I find myself overwhelmed by the English text.
No, it's a bit ridiculous.
That, and it seems that when I'm the only one who doesn't speak Spanish here.
Well, if you know French and you know English, then you can do Spanish, no problem. Latin, it's same as Latin.
Oh, the same. But nevertheless, the Spanish version didn't seem to be so. It seemed to conceal the poet's ideas, while the English language version, where I know each and every word, seems to be much more difficult to grasp than the Spanish version. So my impression is very superficial. It doesn't concern much in the text itself, but it's the feeling I get when I compare two texts, the Spanish and English. Does your cat speak?
Oh, that's my cat.
Yes.
Okay. So, what is the difference in the sound between the original and the line-to-line translation? Obviously, the original is much more to the point, much shorter, so it makes it stronger. It's almost like a very long haiku, where every word, every sound is extremely, extremely significant, as it should be in any kind of prose or poetry. But here it is taken to the absolute. Okay, so when we start, we say 1 leaf fell, and 2, and 3. So what are we doing here?
Recounting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to start this dance, it might be any dance, well, if we go apart from waltz, but either way, when we start to dance, we start this counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1, 2, 3.
Okay, we also look at a leaf falling. And is it something that you regularly practice? You stop and say, oh, there's a leaf falling. Oh, and 2, and 3. And what kind of mood does it set?
Very quite melancholic, because if you say in front of the tree and you count it, well, I think it gives kind of a sad impression, because you see how leaves, they basically die because they fell to the ground, kind of sad to watch. It also, a lot of times it means that winter comes, because leaves, they fall from the trees in autumn. But I think it gives you kind of melancholic mood, because you're observing the nature, you're trying to connect with the nature, and you kind of capture the sadness of the beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what a faux pas, as they say in Spanish French, but do you think it might be a good idea, Alexandra, if you share with us a link to the Russian language version? Or do you think that we...
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun. Because the more different text you have, different translations, each translation brings up a different aspect, because different people see different aspects which they highlight in their own translation. So somebody pays attention to just the sound and the rhythm, while somebody else feels the melancholy, or somebody else might feel something completely different. And then you see, you look at the source and you feel it much better, because you had all those aspects brought out by different people. You can't do it on your own, obviously. You can do a few.
Yeah.
But
To be fair, the Russian version is my favorite one.
okay.
Okay.
Who wants to read it? Who wants to read it? Who wants to read it?
Alexandra wants to read it.
No, I don't want to read it. I'm really bad at reading poems. Like, okay. Раз, и два, и три. Листья мелькнули в окне. Рыбка плывет по луне. Не спит река, но века море поет во сне. Лес отпевает принцесс. Мгла ему свечки зажгла. Торит монашка в дупле. Девочка ждет на ветле. Звякнула шишками ей. Ищет пернатую трель. Но кровью истек соловей, певчей печали своей. И все печальнее мне, потому что и раз, и два, и три листья проплыли в окне. И скрипач с головой из стекла, и картонная скрипка и мгла, и свечение снегов, и сидим целым миром один на один. Тени мертвых и мрамор немой, муравейник рассвета зимой. Где-то молится лес, отпевая принцесс. Где-то мед на цветке, лягушата в реке, приближается сумрак в лавровом луке. Танет небо для ветра, высоким плетнем, и гонимые ветки попляшут на нем по одной, над луной, и вдвоем, над ручьем, и втроем, и по-прежнему врозь, чтобы мрамору крепче спалось.
Well, that sounded much better, didn't it? Than the English version.
Well, yeah, certainly. But the thing is, as Alexandra already mentioned, that what sounds better is not true to the original text. And then again, can you really be true to the original text when we are going to discuss grammar here, the way words are defined and construct the sentence in English to make it sound natural.
Well, translating never been an easy job, you know. Either you're a genius, or you have it from the gnomiki directly, or you just can't do it. It always requires a lot of inspiration and insight. So we have what we have. But I really would like to concentrate more on the original poem because it's really beautiful in itself and it's not that difficult to read. Because we can spend forever comparing different translations, which is also interesting. But, okay, so cayó una hoja y dos y tres, and immediately we have this kind of meditative state. We have the character, we have the mood, we have the background, the landscape, and we have this pause. We have, so one leaf fell, pause, and two, pause, and three. So a leaf falls, but we don't go away, it's not finished, we keep watching. So somehow maybe people can only count up to 3. And maybe that's how our brain works. And then it becomes difficult. But 1 and 2 and 3 is like optimal.
Doesn't it remind, sorry, I'm interrupting, but doesn't it remind you of rain? There's a drop, and here is another. And the third one, is it something again, and I call it something that really points to the autumn and the old age of Mother Nature, the old age of us, the readers, who are really transported into watching something that is absolutely in contrast with, well, relative sunshine and relative water we have today.
Well, I don't see that it's connected with old age. No, but maybe it's more connected with exile, because it was a big subject in, say, Russian literature of the emigrant wave, when after one of the poets used the metaphor, and then everybody started using the metaphor, falling leaves as travelers who have no home, who are neither here nor there, and maybe it's closer to that idea. So if a leaf is falling and fell, then it's not in the tree, it's nowhere. And the narrator, the person, just poet, stands there looking, and he's like, okay, 1 leaf falling, maybe not a big deal, but 2 leaves and 3 leaves. There's a pattern to it. 'Cause 1 leaf may be nothing.
Can I go a little? I just wanted to say that it's gonna repeat once again. One lead file, the second, the third, and you said that we start to watch it, but it doesn't end. And you also have this feeling of repetitive action of the cycle which goes on and on and on.
Yeah, then again, if you think about waltzing, that's what happens. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So he is caught in this situation because if we read to the end that it brings us back to the beginning, so we are caught in this situation, but maybe he likes it. Por la luna nadaba un pez, el agua duerme una hora, el mar blanco duerme 100. So we don't really have it in the Russian translation. We have it in the English line to line. Well, the moon is very important. That's my only objection at a glance to the Russian translation, that they miss the moon, because the moon comes back later and it's connected with the other line. So the fish swam to the moon, on the moon. How can it be?
That fish swims in the moon?
Yes.
Well, I opened Google Translator and it says that it translates the moonlight, but if you move apart from that, La Luna and fish swimming in it, I immediately imagine some kind of reflection. When you move the flag in the water and fishes in it, and you start to have this very realistic, very magical feeling of everything that happens.
Yes.
Because fish cannot swim in the moon. It doesn't happen, but it happens right now, right here. So you kind of, I'm starting to feel like everything what goes on in this poem, either it's some kind of magic or a dream, but something non-realistic.
Yeah, so that line again is important. Again, we have the feeling of a poet watching it.
Yeah, but when his attention is probably again different if he writes it in Spanish as compared to the English or the Russian translation. Because first of all, we see these leaves, and then we're transported to somewhere up there, Por la Luna. The beginning of the lines. Yeah, so Por la Luna draws our attention to the skies.
Yeah. So
what? And then, as if in contrast, no, it's not real moon. They reflect moon in water, because that is perhaps an only possible way of explaining how it can happen. And again, I know I risk being very I risk being very boring. So if you find very boring, you can just switch my mic off. But isn't it? Do you think, Alexandra, do you think that these contrast between English, Russian, and Spanish are important? As far as I understand, again, I don't know the language, una hoja is feminine, un pez, fish, is masculine.
Yeah, so you can see una, el or la. La luna is a she, and un pez is a he. But again, it's like in Russian, it does mean a lot, but it's not specific.
The moon is feminine in Russian, so that's where we agree. but una oha in Russian is list, which is masculine, and untes, the fish, or rainfish, is feminine in Russian, and that's the word our Russian translator uses to say рыбка плывет по луне.
So it might be important because then Unpeth could be like the poet himself. Then it could be important. So yeah, what we have here, like you said, we have different planes, up there, down there, the fish, the moon, mix it together, a bit surrealistic, yes, a bit dreamy, yes, at the same time completely true and realistic, depending on how you look at it. And then of course a fish, whether masculine or feminine, it doesn't really matter, is something fishy, something elusive, same as the moon. The moon is elusive. So when you have the moon and the fish, it brings you really that elusive, the feeling of elusiveness, something that just escapes you like in a dream. So what is the water sleeps for an hour and the white sea sleeps for 400. What is the water? What is the white sea? And then of course we already have the word sleeping. So first we have the, maybe it's like a hypnosis. 1, 2, 3. You're hypnotized. And now you start seeing things. You see the fish on the moon. That's dreamlike. The moon means it's night. Again, it makes you think about dreams, fantasies. Who would be outside watching leaves falling in the moonlight? A poet. And seeing the fish in the moonlight. So what is the water that sleeps for an hour? What is the white sea which sleeps for 100?
That's kind of hard because when somebody says that the water slept for 100 years, I'm starting to think about, some kind of a legend that somebody slept for 100 years, or maybe a fairy tale, but it's not something mythological. It's not something, with the ethnicity. It's just some kind of fairy tale, anything. It might be anything. It might come from any culture, so it doesn't have these kind of links or references to any culture. And that's what really fascinates me right now.
Well, I have a theory.
Okay, let's hear it.
I have a theory, because we have agua, water, not the river, not the stream, and then suddenly we have el mar, the sea. Where do you have a sea in the forest? No, there's only one place where you can have a sea in the forest, and we have it in the line before. I think maybe he means the moon. Blanco, maybe not like white sea, but like blank, empty sea of the moon. And then it's just my theory. I might be wrong, but that's how I see it. So you have normal water on Earth, and it sleeps for 1 hour. Our life here is a dream, and it's very quick. Compared to what's happening in the sky, if you think about the moon, it's not just there like a pretty little lantern. It's very old and wise, maybe, and it sleeps for 100 ages, 100 lifetimes. So maybe that's what he means here. Then of course you have kind of the connection between Thien, 100, and Thiel or heaven or sky, because we have it. The sky will be like a wall. So maybe that's what he means. So he can see the fish swimming across the moon, and then one easy layer, but we feel it at the same time, all at the same time. It's just when we try to analyze it intellectually, we can bring it little by little, but it's all innate, complex, intrinsic, let's say. So the first time we see it, the fish swimming in the sea, after we think about leaves, so he's setting the landscape. Now we are in a forest, we can see water, we can see the fish, we can see it's night, the moon reflecting, normal. We can see it's dreamlike, okay, normal. But after these next lines, we start to think, maybe he's talking about human life. Maybe it's not just a walk in the forest. So the fish swimming across the moon, and the fish again is like ourselves, quick, flashing, come and gone, and the moon is there constantly, and they meet, something that is very quick and something that is lasting, and that's the meeting, the impossible meeting, something that is below water and overhead in the sky far away. They can't meet, and yet they do. That's the beauty and that's the tragedy, because it brings you the, you can compare the two. And then the leaves that are falling can be like human life indeed. Maybe. So something passing. So what's the next line? La dama estaba muerta en la rama.
My favorite line.
So that kind of connects nicely. So we just think about how life passes really quickly compared to what's happening in the sky. And then you have La dama estaba muerta en la rama. What could it be? Okay, I have another idea. Maybe it's not a real lady. Maybe it's not that creepy. I mean, do you often see dead ladies on a night walk in the forest? No. But what can you see in the branches?
The dead lady.
The dead lady. Okay, I don't know why. It just makes me think about, what's his name? Absalom. A story from the Bible. That guy who was a nasty prince, and then finally he was caught and he tried to run away, and he had really long hair, and his hair was caught in the branches. He was just hanging there in the branches until the soldiers came for him. You know the story? You read the Bible? Haven't read the Bible?
I haven't.
I mean, it's like classics. If there's classics, if there's any classics, then that's the Bible. I mean, all the stories, whatever story you name it, you can find it back in the Bible. It's like the original story generator. Oh dear, they haven't read the Bible yet. Oh, their lives are like fish in water. They haven't even read the first ever book. Oh dear. Well, anyway, I think maybe La Dama is La Luna. And you can see the moon caught in the branches, and the moon has that pale light, so it's like dead. Maybe that's what he says. Maybe not, because then he has La Monja and La Niña. So maybe it's just something different. But one lady who can be kind of dead in the branches on a night walk is the moon. You might have some better ideas.
I just think it's interesting that La Rama not only means branches, it also means frame or some kind of construction which limits you.
Yes.
I just think that it's very nice word, and it's, you know,
So
she's not only dead on branch, she's dead in this exact
frame.
Let's say square sections. Yeah.
So we can say.
And a picture.
Huh?
A picture.
Of what? Absalom or the Dama?
Of the Dharma.
Of the Dharma. Okay, I can send you the picture of the Dharma. It's not a problem. It's my I like this guy because he's today's hero.
Okay.
Is that the one? Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll just send it to you. Because I don't know why, but it seems to be today's guy. Do you know him? Have you seen any other his works? That's number 2 for you.
Just 1 second. Beautiful.
So that's what we have today. Agreed. 1 and 2 should be something number 3 by him today. By magic. We'll see. So yeah, at the same time we may think that La Dama, La Monja and La Niña are 3 aspects of ourselves or our soul, or could be the 3 faces of the moon even, because it's like the moon is a triple goddess. So we have 3 ladies who are very different, but at the same time I think it's the same person, because usually they are when they come in 3s and they're different. So we have the lady, the nun, and the girl. So the lady who is experienced and who is from high circles. We have the nun who is humble, who is all about prayers. And we have the child, or we have the child, the lady, and the old lady. Maybe the nun doesn't have to be old, obviously. So again, is it the same person? Is it 3 different people? So the lady is being dead in the frame, and maybe it's our mind, like something inside us, which is caught in the rigid logic. So La Dama, she's intelligent. Maybe that's her intelligence. Then we have La Monja, the nun, who was singing inside the grapefruit. Now that's interesting. How do you have well, maybe if it's a Spanish forest and you have grapefruit. But why would there be a nun singing inside the grapefruit? So if La Dama is like our reason, intelligence, then what is La Monja? Who is singing inside the grapefruit? What's a grapefruit?
It's fruit.
It's a fruit. Good.
Just wait. So is it grapefruit or is it pomegranate or is it like controversial question?
Well, I think that toronja is grapefruit. I don't know why they translate it as pomegranate. Maybe because the pomegranate is connected with Christianity, while grapefruit is connected with something more Spanish. So I think, again, it's just one of ways of looking at it. Yeah.
I think that I just have this thought that when we think about the nun, we think about someone who declines all the pleasures from the outside world and is very ascetic. And the grapefruit is a very, very rich fruit, very juicy. It has very strong flavor.
And it's red.
And it comes from the summer, from sunny days and all this stuff. So I'm just seeing this contrast. I don't know. I don't really know what it might mean, but I can say that there is a very strong contrast.
Okay, so my little idea, again, could be many ways of reading it. So if the lady is intelligent, then maybe the nun is more like a soul or spirit. It's what sings inside us, inside the grapefruit. And maybe the grapefruit is like heart, because it's round, it's big, it's separate, specific. And maybe it's just a little idea. Because why grapefruit apart from rhyming with la monja? Maybe it's just rhyming with la monja. I can't remember any symbolism connected with grapefruit. There probably is some. I know pomegranate is connected with Christianity because it has many seeds in it and they're all red. It's like blood, and it's like when you have lots of things. So you have pomegranates in great numbers in Christian art, but then grapefruit is something really specific. Maybe he says it's my Spanish soul, and so there's the toronja. We have someone being dead, not just dead, like being dead, she was dead. And then we have somebody singing at the same time. So again, we have opposites. Somebody who is dead cannot be singing, usually, normally. They don't sing if you're dead. And then we have somebody who is singing from inside something. Again, a fruit, a living thing. So,
another stupid linguistic question.
Good.
Yes, I'm good at asking stupid questions, and I also did a stupid thing because I inserted the word toronja into the dictionary. So
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can't really hear you.
You can't.
Okay, I can now.
You can now because I didn't.
You're coming and going, kind of. Yeah, and what did it say? What did your dictionary say? Because my dictionary said grapefruit.
Yes, this dictionary says, you probably can see it, at least I hope so, because I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, I can see it. Melissa.
Yeah. Melissa.
Officinalis.
Yeah.
But you can't really sing from inside the herb. So I think he means really the grapefruit.
One of the names, Melissa, as a sort of a, what's the word? A sort of a...
well, I guess it's a little bit far-fetched, because Melissa, like here, is a name. You can't really say that it's something else. And what you're... toronja, I don't know, I only found the meaning grapefruit, and obviously if you sing from inside something, you can't sing from inside grass.
No, you can't.
So if you do that Wikipedia page in Spanish, what does it say? Español? Okay. It's not toronja, it's toronjil.
Yeah.
So it's like a bit different. And it's not the first name, it's like one of the alternative names. So people would not immediately think about that herb either, because it's not there. So I think he just means the grapefruit here. So it would be like a rare word for Melissa. So I don't think he means it. While grapefruits is something more visual. So we have again somebody being dead up in branches or in the frame, And then we have inside, we go inside. And the nun is singing. Again, what kind of songs might be a nun singing? Why would a nun be singing? Is it what nuns do?
They're all songs.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of a song? Maybe it's for the dead lady. Maybe just her singing her own song. Maybe.
But do they also sing prayers or religious hymns? Nuns, do they do that?
I didn't hear you.
Some of them do, some of them don't. Ben.
What was the question again?
Another question was...
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, what was the question?
I just thought that Sergey asked that do nuns sing religious hymns, as I understood. That was your question.
Yeah, so it could be a prayer because you sing prayers. Or maybe it was an unorthodox nun who was hiding inside the grapefruit. She was doing what she liked. And she was singing some happy songs of her own, or not happy songs of her own, not necessarily religious. But from the context, maybe it's connected with the dead lady. And then we have something really weird. We have La Niña iba por el pino a la piña. The girl got the pine cone from the pine. So we have a big forest, we have grapefruits, and now we have pines in that forest, the same forest. So why would we need el pino a la piña? Why would we need the pine cone? Why the girl? Okay, I only think about pineal gland, but maybe that's not what he meant here.
Could you say it again?
I say it only makes me think about pineal gland, but maybe that's not what he meant here, although pineal gland is kind of connected with like insight and creativity and traveling to other realities, if you like. So maybe it's the magic child. The child is the magic inside us, the curiosity. And what else can it be? Why would the girl need a pine cone of a pine?
Do they have pineapples in Spain?
Pineapples. Let's see the translation. Pineapple. Apple. Piña. So could be the same piña. It's pineapple and pine cone. The same. So could be again a grapefruit and a pineapple. Pino. Pino like pine, but pine tree.
Well,
but Pino has only one. Pino has only one translation, like the pine tree. Pino is like pine tree. So maybe he talks about pine cones and the pine tree. So she went to the pine tree to get a pine cone. So she's collecting pine cones. And maybe it's like bits of knowledge, bits of creativity. And you get that you collected. There are plenty lots and lots of them. They're all different. They may look the same to the naked eye, but if you're a poet, you can see that each pine cone is really very different, and each of them is brilliant and amazing. Have you seen the pine cone?
Yeah, I have.
Closely.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, as I remember correctly, pine cones and pines, they include seeds inside of them.
Yeah.
So the new tree will grow if pine will fall down on earth, and birds will eat it a little bit, and they will spread the seeds. So you said about knowledge, but I also thought about legacy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's seeds at the same time. Mm-hmm. And the pine cones, they're kind of spiral. Maybe that's also in it. So why would anyone go for pine cones? But that's a magic forest, so it is what we see. It isn't. So we have that little bit again, 1 and 2 and 3. La dama, la monja, la niña. Again, 3 aspects of a soul of a person, of the moon maybe. Y el pino buscaba la plumilla del trino, pero el ruiseñor lloraba sus heridas alrededor. So we kind of make the link, make the bridge between the ladies, the girl. She went to the pine tree, and now we look at the pine tree. I like this connection because it's really why do I like it? Can you tell me? What's so good about this connection?
The connection between pine tree and
between the lines saying la niña iba por el pino a la piña y el pino buscaba la plumilla del trino. So the lady was dead in the branches, and the nun was singing in the grapefruit, and the girl went to the pine tree for the pine cone, and the pine tree. So what's good about this connection?
Well, if I will look only on the sounds,
Mm-hmm.
it does sound like a melody, like or so it is a melody.
Yeah, Spanish is like that. It's very melodical. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And apart from that, about the meaning,
Yes.
each thing continues the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a process, but it's a cycle process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what happens is we are not doing it like in logical progression. We are looking around and we are talking about what we can see. So we see the leaves falling, maybe into water. Maybe the leaves are falling into water. And we follow them and we look at water and we see the moon reflected. And we think about the water and the seas of the moon, which are not seas at all. And then we think, oh, the moon is like the lady in the branches, and the lady leads to the nun, and the nun leads to the niña. And then the girl is going to the pine tree. Now we're looking at the pine tree. So it's very relaxed. It's not like, oh, now I need to show this, now I need to show that. It's your eyes are wandering, stalking, walking. Yeah? And you're taking in what happens. So again, it flows and you participate in it like you do in a dream. Like you go with the flow and you enjoy it. So now you look at the pine, and what does the pine do? Doing something weird. Again, looking for the how do we translate it? How do we decide to translate it? The little feather song or the warble of the pen tip? So I think he means both.
Okay, let's go with both.
Okay, what's your idea?
I just think that Fever's song is very beautiful and poetic if you look at Fever as birds, because you know, when you're in a forest and you hear birds, you don't actually see the birds. You kind of know that there are birds around you and they have feathers and claws, but you don't see them. But you hear the song. And I think it's a very beautiful description of the atmosphere around you in this exact forest. Fairly thoughtful.
So again, why I think he means, he has both meanings, because he's a poet and he's talking about himself when he's writing it. So the pine tree, again, El Pino, a man, looking for the song of the pen, maybe like the poet is looking for his inspiration. So if you're a poet, you come to this amazing forest at night looking for inspiration, but you can't find it. It's elusive, like the fish, like water, like the fish in the water, like the reflection of the moon, which you can't hold. You can see it, you can't take it. So this magic, this inspiration is all around you, but you can't quite get it. And maybe that's what he means here. So that tremble, the shiver of the tip of the pen when it's about to start writing. At the same time, he is talking about the bird, the La Plumilla del Trino, the song of the little feather, because then, first of all, like you say, it's in the forest, so we expect to hear some birds. And then we have the bird in the next line. So the pine tree is looking for the bird song, but the bird, the nightingale, is crying his wounds around, crying about his wounds. It's not the song, it's a cry. So why do we suddenly have the nightingale?
It sings beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and usually when we hear this beautiful song, we are very happy. With that in mind, poets usually sing, and just today I met a quotation where a famous tradesman in Hamilton asked, "Why are you singing?" He's asking the poet, and the poet can't stop thinking. But there is a happy song and there is a sad song. And while we might enjoy the creation of a poet, in fact, the poet might be very mournful. He might learn poetry is often the poetry of love that is not shared, of some other difficult circumstances that are described not like this monologue of mine, but rather beautifully in precise words that wrote the meaning and yeah, I think.
Okay. So what's a common idea of a nightingale?
Probably in the very early morning before the dusk.
Mm-hmm. So generally when you say nightingale in poetry, you do mean a poet, or you do mean something romantic. So what it says, I'm looking for the inspiration, but my nightingale, the part of me which is singing, can't sing because it's hurt, because it can only cry about its wounds everywhere, all around. So we have all these maybe not depressive, disturbing images, like the dead lady and the ideas about life being so short and passing, now looking for inspiration but finding only cries. So I think that makes it quite strong, because he's talking about himself, he's not trying to hide it, and it's important for a poet to find his inspiration.
Maybe I'm too slow, but doesn't it mean then that there's a lady he loves and she's dead, physically, or death in the sense the connection to her is lost?
Well, no, I don't see it here. We don't have this dama in any specific image. She's connected with other two images. La dame, la monja, la niña. It's all the same person. So we don't feel like, oh, it's a special lady. We feel like she's a part of the forest, so a part of 1 and 2 and 3. But what we have here is something that many people will recognize, this cry of the soul, cry of the heart, when, oh, my wounds are too deep, too deep, too deep. And many people will recognize it. Okay, I say let's have a little break.